Greetings, it's Eric Bakker, naturopath from New Zealand, author of Candida Crusher and formulator of the CanXida range of dietary supplements. Thanks for checking out my video today. I'm going to do a series of videos regarding chronic Candida yeast infection. I did one yesterday, I think, an FAQ, frequently asked question. How do I know I have chronic Candida? I've got another question here from a guy in Sydney, Australia. How do I treat a chronic Candida yeast infection? Well, let's talk about that today, how you can actually effectively treat a chronic Candida infection. What are the steps you need to take in order to nail this thing? Let's go over this now. So, first thing I think it's important to spell out to you, it's really important for you to look at the holistic picture of your health, your life and health in general. Many people who come to me for treatment of yeast infection, they basically just want to treat the yeast infection. They want to treat the toenail fungus, or they want to treat the vaginal infection, or they want to treat the jock itch, or they want to treat some sort of skin rash they got. Now that's what they want to treat. They want to treat one particular thing. All right. Now many practitioners, symptom prescribers, they will just placate to the patient's need and treat that symptom. Medical doctors are renowned for doing this. You come to a doctor, they will treat the symptom. I may have mentioned in a previous video, when I was in Australia years ago, I visited a medical clinic, a friend of mine, and there was a sign hanging up, please present with only one symptom today, which shows you how stupid the medical system is when, today they treat the headache, you come back tomorrow for maybe a period pain, you come back the following day for arthritis or something, so as if nothing's connected in the body, so. And there are still many people who are looking for like natural cures, they're looking for pills for ills. Well, if that's you, get the hell away from my Candida Crusher channel. I don't really want you watching my videos if you think that I'm going to give you some magic cure or some magic answer for Candida, because it ain't going to happen. So switch off now. Go and have a look at a lot of the other channels. There are a lot of other people that will certainly tell you that how you can cure this thing in 5 minutes or in half an hour, or the 24-hour Candida cure. What a load of crap. These things are not possible. You can't cure Candida in 24 hours, If you really believe that, switch off now, because I'm going to tell you it's not going to happen, especially chronic Candida. So you need to look at the whole picture. You need to look at everything that's going on in your health right now. And we're going to go over a couple of important points that I've written about in Candida Crusher in my book. So the first thing I want you to look at, which I think is 80% of recovery for not just chronic Candida, but any kind of chronic condition, is you need to look at your lifestyle. You need to look at what's going on in your life right now. Excuse me. So I've written a few points down here on paper, and we'll go through these bit by bit. So the big thing I like people to look at are, where are the stresses in your life? What are the holes that need plugging up? Do you have issues with people around you? Our biggest stresses in life tend to be people. People that we work with or work for, people that work for us, people that we're close to in relationships, either professionally or personally. People that we're related to, friends, neighbours, all sorts of people. But people tend to be our biggest stress. Most people I know who come to see me as patients have got one person, excuse me, that's stressing them out. So these are the sort of frictions that need to be resolved, because stress has an incredible way of undermining your health by working on slowly eroding your adrenal and thyroid health, by creating hormone imbalances. And these hormone imbalances lead to lots of different problems. So you need to sort these kind of stresses out. You can read a lot more again about stress on ericbakker.com or yeastinefection.org. So the second area that we're going to look at would be sleep. Well, sleep really falls under that work-life balance, doesn't it? So that's an area that really needs sorting out. 30 to 40% of people we see now don't sleep properly. So getting to bed on time, not drinking too much alcohol, these are the sort of things that need fixing up. If you've got issues affecting your sleep, you need to get it sorted. People with poor sleep patterns usually have poor health. Poor health, increased susceptibility to Candida infection. So I just watched a really interesting video yesterday by quite a well-known American doctor. Incredible amount of views on his channel. He never spoke about sleep. He basically said you need to treat the gut, you need to treat the spleen, you need to treat the intestines, and it was all about the different body parts that needed treating. But there was no real talk about lifestyle changes that need to be made. So often poor lifestyle habits underpin many chronic illnesses that people have. or lead them to developing eating patterns that develop poor organ systems. All right, so the stresses are the big thing. Sleep, you need to get that nailed. If you can't sleep properly, get it sorted. It can make a huge difference to your life. 80 to 90% of the body's recovery and repair occurs during deep sleep. So if you can't sleep, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to work out you can't recover. So, end of, move on. So get your sleep sorted. Work-life balance. Maybe you're working too much. Maybe you're not relaxing enough. Maybe you're relaxing too much. Maybe you're not working enough. So again, you need to get this work-life balance sorted. It's very important for you to be happy with your work, to earn sufficient income. You're starting to get the picture now, all right? A lifestyle needs a lot of attention. It needs fixing up. Many patients I see also need what we call digital detox. They need to get away from these devices, eating over laptops and liking people on iPhones and things like that when they're eating food. So you can't chew food properly. You can't digest food properly if you're constantly using digital devices. So you've got to get away from these kind of things. I grew up in an era where we never had smartphones. We had smart people, not smartphones. Now we've got smartphones and dumb people. So think about it. You might need to make a few changes there. 80% lifestyle. 20% we need to really look at the dietary modifications. I've written a huge amount about diet. If you go to yeastinefection.org, there's probably about 500 articles plus on diet. There are many YouTube videos I've also done on diet. So again, you can go and watch those. I've made those for people like you. But suffice to say, diet changes are in order. Again, this video I watched yesterday from this doctor didn't mention how important it was to avoid all forms of alcohol. So you're not going to recover from any kind of candida infection if you drink alcohol on a regular basis. Even one alcoholic drink per week is too much. So that's got to go. Soda drinks, fruit juices, all those sorts of high fructose, high sugar drinks, carbonated beverages, you just got to can all those, get rid of them out of your life. Green tea is one of the best teas to drink with yeast infection. It's got a lot of polyphenols in it, helps to restore the gut. What else can we talk about? Yeah, well, again, with the diet, changes everything. You probably need to make considerable changes in your diet if you want to go, and get a considerably good outcome. And I've written many times in my book that the definition of insanity is eating the same stuff or making slight changes and expecting a really favorable outcome. You probably need to make a lot of changes in your diet. Patient I had yesterday on this Skype from Australia has got major constipation and she's eating fried food all the time. Well, that needs changing. So there are no one single diet that's going to help you recover from a yeast infection. It's usually a combination, of different things that you put in and take out that will make all the difference. So some people argue that you should go all carb-free. Other people, say fruit is fine. Other people say all grains have to go. So to be perfectly honest, it doesn't make a huge deal of difference if there are small variations in from one diet to another. I've seen people recover eating a considerable amount of fruit, and I've seen other people recover when they take all the fruit out of the diet. And as I always write in my articles, that if something's working for you, you need to increase that. And if it's not working, you need to change it. And if it's not working at all, you need to completely change it. So a lot of experimentation is required on your part, if you really want to recover from a yeast infection. Check out my article on ericbakker.com. I've written a considerably long article on antibiotics and natural alternatives, and I think there's an article I wrote also regarding probiotics, which is quite a good one for you to read. And you can also have a look at the FOS and GOS foods, the fructo-oligosaccharide foods, and the galacto-oligosaccharide foods. So that's an article all about prebiotic foods. So prebiotic foods, in fact, it was only as recent as 1997 that a doctor discovered what prebiotics really are. And we know now that prebiotics form an extremely important part of recovery from SIBO, Candida parasites and many of these kinds of problems. In fact, I attended a very interesting presentation in Australia. It was put together by a very clever guy from Tasmania, Australia, who studied probiotics now for nearly 20 years. And in this doctor's opinion, the fermented and cultured foods make hardly any difference to a person's digestive system because they only have a very temporary ability to recolonize the gut. In fact, this doctor believed that the FOS and GOS foods were much more relevant and important for a person to eat. So these prebiotic foods supply sugars called oligosaccharides, which help to build up lots and lots of beneficial bacteria in the colon. So check out my article on prebiotic foods on ericbakker.com. It's quite a long page. You can read a lot more about it. Supplementation is the last part I'd like to talk about. So remember the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time look at lifestyle changes, including sleep and stress, work habits, relationship habits, all those sorts of things. And about 20% you need to focus on your diet, not the other way around. Many people believe that 80% of the time they spend thinking about what they eat and 20% of the time about the other stuff. It's not my experience at all that way inclined. Supplementation forms a very important but minor role in your full and complete recovery from a chronic candida yeast infection. I've used many different supplements over the last 25 odd years with patients, all the leading practitioner brands, most of the retail brands, and for that reason I basically designed my own product range because I really wasn't happy with the outcomes I was getting with patients. So I want you to check out CanXida.com. So CanXida.com is just a small website, but we developed it up to showcase the products. I'll just write down the domain here. So you'll see in the middle, it's got an X, CanXida.com. So a lot of people don't know how to spell it. So the reason I developed that product range up was really to get superior outcomes with patients. Outcomes I wasn't really achieving using all the different brands on the market, and I used them all. Allergy Research, Thorne Research, Metagenics, Bakker Research, Nutrition Tech. I mean, the list goes on and on. I've tried all of these different brands, and usually the practitioner ranges are superior than the crappy ranges you'll find on Amazon or iHerb or junk websites like that. Often these websites sell retail products that are made from very cheap Chinese raw materials of inferior quality, and the outcomes are very hit and miss. So, and this is why a lot of naturopaths like me tend to buy practitioner ranges and sell those on to patients. These are often made from a higher grade raw material from companies like Germany, raw material suppliers like DSM in Germany, Indema. These are people that make very high grade products. But I found that many of these products also didn't work, or they only worked sort of partially for some people but not for others. So how I design my products is I look at everything on the market and I can see all the small mistakes that many companies make, and I just make a better product. And then I trial that product out on patients, and if I'm not happy, I modify it and change it, and just change it and tweak it and make it better and better over time. And that's what I've done with the CanXida range. So far I've created CanXida Remove, which is an antifungal product, anti-parasite. It works for SIBO. It's, I think, probably the best broad spectrum product of its kind currently on the market. I've seen no products that come even close to CanXida Remove. You can use it for constipation, food allergies, diarrhea, irritable bowel, inflammatory bowel disease. I've had fantastic success with Crohn's patients in colitis. I've used it for many different kinds of people. Bowel cancers, I've used it for all sorts of things. And the second product I've developed is called CanXida Restore. So it's got 7 different enzymes in it and 6 different probiotics. There are no prebiotic sugars in this product. I don't believe in putting inulin or FOS in with a probiotic. I think it's bad news. And you can read about that also. I've written about that, why I don't think it's a good move. Many studies now validate that using prebiotics along probiotics can actually support SIBO and increase brain fog and aggravate people. So I've given up using these. That's why I developed CanXida Restore. I've got in it 6 different digestive enzymes that target proteins, carbs and fats, and I put a systemic enzyme, serrapeptase, which helps to mop up and get rid of the small proteins, glycoproteins formed when Candida dies. It helps to clean and mop up the Candida mess, basically. It's a fantastic product. It's taken me 12 months to develop this product, the CanXida Restore. Painstaking research went into selecting the exact right probiotic. and enzyme blend. And I think it's a perfect companion for the CanXida Remove. And they work really together as a pigeon pair. So you'll be able to read a lot more about that very soon at CanXida.com. So hopefully the CanXida Remove will be released again, my new batch. We've had issues with the first batch because it's a very, very difficult product to make. It's a tablet involving 12 separate ingredients, and to get the sustained release in this tablet form is very tricky. So I've had to already reject one batch, dump a whole lot of stuff, and remake a new batch because I want it to be absolutely perfect for people. So I hope that gives you some good information today on chronic candida treatment. You can read a lot more again on yeastinefection.org, ericbakker.com. Don't forget to do my survey. It's the best survey in the world to determine whether you have mild, moderate or severe yeast infection. And check out my Candida Crusher YouTube channel. There's close to 500 videos on there now, all designed for people like you to give you some quite good information. Make sure you leave me some comments, please. Subscribe to my channel. And also let me know what kind of topics you'd like me to discuss, because I'm always happy to introduce new topics. So this is a long-winded reply to a question from a gentleman in Sydney, Australia. How to treat chronic candida infection. Thanks for tuning in.